Yeah, so that was a really good trip. We met Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. was fighting Danny Green at the time. And then when we were training at Baguio, we asked the coaches if they could introduce us to Manny Pacquiao. At the time, I was only 15 years old. I was a two-time amateur Australian champion representing Australia. So,
POWCAST Sports. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Have you been in the Philippines since you're for?
After that trip, I represented Australia and we did a training camp in Baguio City with the Philippine.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was a really good trip. That was at the time when Manny Pacquiao was training for Miguel Cotto. And we were fortunate enough on the way there, we met Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. was fighting Danny Green at the time in Sydney. We got to see him in the Sydney airport before he left. And then when we were training at Baguio, we asked the coaches if they could introduce us to Manny Pacquiao, and we got to watch him spar on the last day. And we were there in Manila Plaza at the mall watching him train and watching him spar Sean Porter, I met Jose Luis Castillo, Urbano Tillion, and obviously Manny Pacquiao and Freddie Roach. So at the time, I was only 15 years old. I was a two-time amateur Australian champion representing Australia. And it was a great trip. We trained with the Filipino team, a lot of great fighters there. I think there's I remember doing a comp spar with Ray Batista, who's an Asian Cup champion from the amateurs. He's a very good fighter, very good left hook. And we had a very good competitive comp spar when we were at Baguio. So that was a really, amazing trip, especially meeting Manny Pacquiao and Freddie Roach and watching him train.
Okay, two things from what you said. Ray Bautista, you sparred with him, probably your batch. He's retired right now. He's Navy. What do you remember?
Yeah, a different one. So not that what you're talking about. He's still an amateur now.
Okay. But you're not talking about Boom Boom Bautista. It's not him.
No, not Boom Boom Bautista. No.
Okay. It's a different one. Okay, he's not the wrestler.
No.
Okay. So, but you said you've seen Manny. Have you interacted with him? Did you talk to him? What do you remember about that interaction?
We just we were fortunate enough to watch him train, and he was very brief, but he was busy training. Like I said, the whole team. There was about 6 of us, alongside with the other fighters that he was sparring, and the coaches. So he did take his time out to acknowledge us and say hello. We watched in awe, especially because it's Manny Pacquiao. And everyone knows that fight, he destroyed Miguel Cotto, which was an amazing fight and an amazing performance. So, I'm just happy. I'm blessed that I got to meet 2 of my idols, Manny Pacquiao and Roy Jones Jr. in the one trip at such a young age. Yeah.
Wow! Lucky you. So, what was that? The only interaction? Did you had any other interaction with Manny after that?
No, that was it. So after that day, the next day we left for Australia.
Okay, you didn't watch the Pacquiao horn?
I did watch the Pacquiao.
Okay, so did you get a chance to meet him there?
No, I didn't actually, because when I won the Australian title, I got a call to fight on that undercard, and unfortunately, when I won my Australian title, I suffered a fractured orbital bone in the 5th round of my fight. So I had to take 3 months off, and I couldn't fight on that card, unfortunately. But that would have been perfect, especially with 50,000 fans there. But it wasn't meant to be. But December 11th, this is going to be my time, and I'm going to make all the Filipinos proud, especially the Filipino Australians and all my family overseas. That are praying for me and wish to hope for me to win.
POWCAST Sports. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.